Having the opportunity to learn about the significant species in Gambia is something that you just don't turn down. So when I went there earlier this year, I spoke to local guide and bird enthusiast, Mahmoudi, who told me all about his beliefs of the Baobab tree. I came up with some really unusual facts.
Baobab tree is an introduced tree. This tree has been introduced to Africa, I believe, during the trans-Saharan slave trade. Anywhere you see Baobab tree in the locals believe is an old settlement, because you don't have any Baobab tree in the wild. There are signs of old settlements from humans, Those days, about 100 years ago, people depend on Baobab trees, and like the whole tree could be important. So, what they do is, they grow baobab beside them. The green leaves, if they are wet or dry, they can be cooked. The best way they use it for, they just dry them to keep it longer. Like if they dry them, you can keep it for years. They use it is that, they pound it into powder. They make couscous, they mix this powder with the couscous. It makes it slippery. The leaves are very important, and still people are using it. If you go to local markets, ladies sell it and make juice out of it. If you have, example, bad stomach like banjul belly or other things, people use it, to keep the water you are losing. So, and the trunk, on the trunk of the tree as well, if you look on the trunk of the tree, is very smooth. But if you chopped it out, you can have a rope on from the trunk. So when they chopped it out, they just pound it or hit it with a stick, which will make it much more soft. So they use that, to get rope out of it to tie their cattle, sheep and goats, because in those days there was no technology of making rope. So all what they do to tie their cattle is they go on baobab trees, and get rope out of it. The animals that use the fruit mostly, because it will be animals that are able to climb, like example squirrels, these sun squirrels could climb up and eat the baobab fruits, but not a common food for them. Like monkeys could use it as well if there is a scarce of food. Example, if the habitat is very shortage of food and baobab is available with some fruits, they can climb on it, pick the fruits, extract them. Because the drier the fruit is on top, because when the sunlight is on it, when it dries to an extent, it will crack, because the heat, it is over dried. Some insects will get into it as well. Insects mainly, like, there will be wasps. You have these beetles will get into it as well, feed on the baobab fruits. It's not easy for birds because they will hardly break the baobab fruit shell. So it's not a common food for birds. The only bird that could do it sometimes will be the plantain eater, if the fruits are visible inside. But otherwise they cannot break the fruits because it's strong enough for their beaks. Baobabs, in this time of the year, this is the fruit ripening time. When their fruits are getting ripe, they drop all the leaves, so they look dead. But in June, July, if you happen to see some of them, they will all grow leaves on them in July. If you come, you will find the whole baobab tree will be completely green. So in August, they will start making the flowers, big round white flowers with the nectar of the flower will be a bit of yellow. You will find lots of bees. If you come in the summer, you will find lots of bees on these flowers trying to pick the nectar to take it into their beehives. It's very common, they make beehives on baobab trees. The hollows of the baobab, if they are tight enough, bees will make in. Baobabs can grow up to more than 400 years old because they are such a tree. If they are not cut off now, they hardly die. Even if you cut the trunk, the other part of it will grow another branch again. If you see a baobab tree standing, it didn't fall down, yet still it's not old. Because in baobab, when it grows old to, let's say a few hundred years, about 200 or 300 years, they will fall down. But when they fall down, they will still grow branches on them, like if you happen to go to Bigino Forest, there are some baobab trees with such signs on them. Those holes will be a shelter for a snake or a mama.
Inland towards Tendaba, we went on a wilderness walk and stumbled across many intriguing baobab trees, some that had fallen and some with amazing hollows. It was very relaxed until Mamadou heard a noise.
Wandi. Okay, I thought the warthog is coming out. So, ladies first, we need to inspect the most common snake that you will see in a baobab. For example, the other day we saw a rock python. One of the baobab hollows, we saw a python in it. So you could expect any snake in the hollow. Maybe last time we saw some straw-colored bats in the baobab hollow. So these are tiny little bats, feed on mosquitoes and other things. It's not a good sighting for fruit bats because fruit bats, they hang on big trees.
So after 2 weeks of learning about the Gambian Baobab tree, I had to say goodbye to Mamadou. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, honey. You're welcome.